on how to create a double exposure on Pixlr.com. So I'm going to open up a new web page, type in www.pixlr.com and get to this page here. We're going to select Pixlr E Advanced Photo Editor. Okay, I've already uploaded my images, so I'm going to go to Open Image and choose one of my photos, which is in a series of movements of me moving my head up and down. Select Choose, I want Full HD, I'm going to press Apply. Okay, so there's the photo of me. Next thing I want to do is I want to open up another image on top of that. So I'm going to go to File, Open Image. I'm going to choose another one of the images, but with me looking a different way. So I'm going to start with this one here of me looking slightly up. Press Apply. Okay, so what we're doing is we're opening up all of the images in the series of movements. File, Open Image again. Okay, I'm going to choose one of me looking really, really far back now. Press Choose, Apply. Okay, so I'm going to try and put 4 images into the series. File, Open, I'm going to choose my last one, which is one of me looking down, and press Choose. Okay, so there's 4 images there in my series. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this one here on the end, and I'm going to go to this rectangular marquee tool. Okay, so it says Marquee Select. And this is just my way of selecting the image that I want to copy. So I'm going to click down and drag over the image to get a dotted line which goes around the entire image. I'm going to press Ctrl-C on my keyboard. I'm going to go to my first image. I'm going to press Ctrl-V. And what it's done is it pasted it on top as another layer. So if you look over here on the right hand side, you can see that I've got the background image there, which was my original image of me looking straight forward. And then I've got my next layer, which is the photo I've just pasted, which is me looking down. Now what I can do is I can now change the blending options on that to make it look as if it's slightly more transparent. So by clicking on these 3 little dots, I can go to Blend Mode, click that, and I can try out some of the different blending effects to see which one I like. Okay, I quite like overlay, that works quite nicely. Darken's okay. Not really liking that. I want something where I can still see. That works quite nicely. What's that? Hard light. So maybe hard light. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. So it was hard light or overlay. They both look very, very similar. So hard light actually brings out more of the sort of like facial features. Once you've done that, then you might decide actually I want to move it slightly because I'm not quite keen on having these 2 mouths. So I'm going to go to this move tool here, which is an arrange tool, like a little arrow. Click on that, and then I can move my layer just ever so slightly. Okay, you might decide that you want to keep it there, or you want to move it higher. Okay, I'm just going to move it down slightly. Once I'm happy with that, click off the image in this little blank space, and that's saved that there. Okay, I'm then going to go to my next one, which is one of me looking up. Same thing again, use the Marquee Select tool, drag over the image, Ctrl-C to copy it, go back into my first one, Ctrl-V. Okay, you can see there that it's actually pasted that layer underneath. So I just want to drag it on top and then click the 3 dots, and I'm going to change the blending options to hard light there. Okay, so then you can once again have a play around with the placement of it. Maybe you want to make it slightly bigger or smaller, so you can just drag from the corner. I quite like that, how that effect works there by making it slightly bigger. So I'm happy with that. And one last image. I don't actually think I need that. Let's try put it in anyway. So using my marquee tool, I'm going to select over the image, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. I'm going to drag it to the top, change my blending option. I'm not too keen on that. And what you can do is you can press this little tick and it'll turn it on and off. No, I don't think I need that one on it. Right, so because I've decided that I don't want that one on, click on the three little dots again, and what you can do is you can delete your layer there, okay? So I'd much prefer it like that. And that is my sort of like movement inspired by Blythe Bonham. So what I would do then is I would go to File, Save, change the file name to, let's call it Edit 1A, make sure that it's a JPEG, and then download, and it'll download to your computer. Now, after you've done this, we are going to want to edit and experiment with filters, okay? So we're going to want to flatten the image because otherwise you'll be working on 3 separate layers. So in order to flatten the image, we click on the 3 little dots again on the layer at the top, go down to here where it says merge down, merge visible, or flatten image. We want to flatten it, okay? So press flatten, and you can see there, it's squished all of those layers into one. Now that I've done that, I can play around with the filters. So I could go to adjustment, I could play around with the brightness and contrast, maybe the color balance, maybe the highlights and shadows. So there's lots of different things you can do there, or you can go onto the effects library and you can have a play around with maybe some of these effects. Okay, so we've got some nice sort of like old-fashioned filters. I quite like that, so I'm going to press apply, file, save. This time I'm going to call it Edit 1B because it is the second version of that image, and press download. And I'd like you to experiment at least 4 times. So we've got our original image and we're going to do 4 other experiments. Now you can add another filter on top of that one if you want to, okay? So you can see there that's added it on the top. If you don't want to do that, all you need to do is go edit, undo, and it'll take you back to the original, okay? So then you can go on to experimenting a little bit further with that image. Now I quite like that one, so I'm going to get file, save, call it edit 1C, download. Okay, I'm trying to keep in mind those 2 photographers that we've looked at, Blythe Bonham and Jean Millet. All of their images were quite dark. Now I can experiment further with like sort of like coloured images, but I am going to go back into sort of like this black and white effect. So I quite like that sepia one. I'm going to apply that, file, save. This is called Edit 1D. Download it. And I've got one last one to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply another filter on top of this one that I've done here. So I'm going to go to filter, effects library again. Don't like any of them, so I'm going to press back. I quite like that one. It's sort of like these purpley turns. Yeah. So it's called Stinker, that one. What a good name. Press apply, file, save, and that one is called Edit 1E. And that is the last experiment on that series of edits. And that is how you create a double exposure, or in this case a triple exposure, on Pixlr. Okay, good luck everybody.